Hey, we're just going to quickly go over how to think about your Google My Business because people sometimes overestimate what Google My Business can do. And James is going to show you here, like no matter how big your business is or how dominant you are, there is limitations to it. But he's got some more good details here.
Well, the biggest things are going to be your name of your company, because if you think of it, Google's trying to match up words when you do a search as to a company name that matches. So for these guys here, for example, this is from Phoenix. They're for air conditioning. Phoenix, I showed them as number one on maps. And if they did not have air cooling or air conditioning or something like that in their name, you're just not going to rank. So that's the very first thing, is that your company name, you can change it a little bit in here to make it so it's relevant. So if these guys were just Desert Diamond, and they wanted to go with that afterwards, after the fact, they could have come in here and said Desert Diamond air conditioning and air cooling and heating, and that would help you if your name had that attached, whatever it is, tree service roofing. Second of all, and this is really, really important, is your reviews. Get as many as you can and make sure you do this, because if you look at anybody that's ranking in maps, guaranteed you're going to find them in the top three. At least two of the three are going to have that they respond to almost every single review. Beyond that, you can do some stuff with your description, but those are the two main things: your name and the reviews, how many you've got, and if you respond to them. Now, with that though,
The
it doesn't.
responding makes sense. Like you got to think of it in, how Google thinks about this. So it's only going to promote its own services for, it wants people to interact with people's GMB. It wants businesses to interact with customers. So if somebody could be super powerful, have tons of reviews, all this kind of stuff, but if they don't interact with their customers, Google's going to suppress them. So it doesn't take long. You can even automate this with some AI stuff, right? Where you can get it to automatically respond. It's like just always respond to reviews, good or bad.
And also, Google loves themselves. So the more you work with Google, the more you give Google, the more it rewards you.
Right on. So the next thing is to keep in mind the expectations. Google's trying to give people a company. It doesn't matter if it's a restaurant, a roofer, it doesn't matter who it is. If it's a local business, Google is trying to show somebody that's close to the customer, which means even though these guys are number one in Phoenix, if you look at their map for where they're ranking in maps, this is the whole Phoenix area, the greater Phoenix down to Gilbert. They're only showing up right close to where their office is. And you can do this with anybody. Like this is the next biggest is Gettle.
Just show what that map means. Just explain like what those numbers are referring to.
Right. So in the maps, this is showing them number one or number two in these green areas. And then 20 plus means that they're not showing up in the first 20 results. And then way out here, for some reason, they're number 18. So this is if you go to a search, the top three are the ones that show up with the general organic search, or you can just search within a map and find it. But that's where it's showing, number one and number two. And then if you think of Gettle, who's a huge air conditioning company, their map location, and this one here, you can see I've zoomed in a little bit compared to, so it's only showing the southern Phoenix area here. And they're showing up only where their office is and close by, and then out into the desert where there's nobody else even trying to compete.
And they're huge. It's just, even for a massive company, they can't even rank in all areas. It's just not possible.
Yeah. And that'll be for anybody that you're looking for. And also, again, keeping in mind, they've got air conditioning in their name. So that's a huge help. And, but that's the expectations with the maps, is you're only really going to rank close to where you are and with your office, within a few miles of it, likely.
That's great. Thank you. Reach out if you guys want some help with your general marketing or your Google My Business.